I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about this penny, why it's so valuable, how to spot one, and some insider tips that might just turn your dusty old change into a treasure. And stick around because I'll share a little story about how I almost tossed $1 million coin into a vending machine. Yep, true story. Alright, first things first. What's the deal with this 1988 penny? Most Lincoln pennies have a mint mark, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But the no mint mark pennies mean they were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Back in 1988, the Philadelphia Mint was churning out billions of pennies. So how did a no mint mark penny from that year become so valuable? That's where the plot thickens. You see, the 1988 no mint mark penny became a rare gem because of a production error. Some pennies were struck without the mint mark, but even rarer, some had unique die errors or metal compositions that make them stand out in the collecting world. To fully appreciate why this coin is worth so much, we need to understand coin errors, mint marks, and rarity. Don't worry, I'll break it down in plain English. No boring coin jargon here. Here's the kicker. Normally, a 1988 penny is worth, well, about a penny. But when you have one that's pristine, perfectly preserved, and without that all-important mint mark, things change. Because collectors love rare anomalies. The no mint mark penny from 1988 represents a limited subset of coins that slipped through quality control or were struck under unusual circumstances. These pennies tend to have minting errors that make them unique, maybe a doubled die, an off-center strike, or a rare metal alloy mix. Combine rarity, historical significance, and demand from collectors, and you've got a recipe for a coin worth over $1 million. Now, don't start emptying your piggy bank just yet. These coins are rare, but not impossible to find. And if you do find one, even close to mint condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. 1988, right under Lincoln's portrait. Next, look closely where the mint mark should be, just to the right of the date. If it's missing, you have a no mint mark penny, but that's just the start. To be valuable, it must be in excellent condition. We're talking sharp details, no scratches, no wear on Lincoln's face or the wheat stalks on the back, and watch for any oddities like doubled images, misprints, or metal anomalies. Sometimes these subtle differences can add thousands, or millions, to the value. If you're not sure, there are professional graders and coin experts who can verify authenticity and condition. It's worth getting a second opinion before you cash in. It all comes down to rarity, demand, and condition. A coin like this is rare because very few survived without damage, and collectors worldwide are hunting for that perfect specimen. The coin market can be wild. Sometimes values spike because of auction hype, celebrity collectors, or even pop culture references. Right now, the 1988 no mint mark penny is trending upwards. With people more aware of rare coins and the rise of online auctions, the market is hotter than ever. But remember, coin values can fluctuate. If you're lucky enough to have one, timing your sale can be crucial. A few years ago, I was at a coffee shop, digging through my change to pay for a latte. I pulled out this shiny penny, gave it a quick glance, but it looked just like any other penny, or so I thought. I was about to toss it in the tip jar when I decided to Google it. Turns out, it was a 1988 no mint mark penny in near mint condition. Heart racing, I realized I was literally about to tip $1 million coin. Talk about a near miss. That experience taught me two things. Always check your pennies carefully, and never underestimate the treasure hiding in your pocket change. The 1988 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a shining example of how something small and overlooked can turn into a fortune. Whether you're a casual collector, a history buff, or just someone who loves the thrill of a good treasure hunt, this coin is worth knowing about. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare pennies, and you want more tips on finding hidden coin treasures, understanding market trends, and maybe even turning your pocket change into cash, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't miss out on future videos that could help you discover your own $1 million find. We're diving deep into the story, value, and secrets of the 2000 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Yes, that seemingly ordinary little copper disc that could be worth more than most people's cars. Now, before you rush to dump your whole collection onto the table, Let's get real about what makes this penny so special, how you can spot one, and what to do if you're lucky enough to find one lurking in your pocket change. Spoiler alert, it's not just about the year or the absence of a mint mark. There's a wild story behind this coin that even seasoned collectors might not know, so grab your favorite snack, get comfy, and let's jump into the fascinating world of the 2000 no mint mark Lincoln penny, your potential ticket to millions. And hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button because I've got tons more coin treasure secrets coming your way. What exactly are we talking about here? The 2000 no mint mark Lincoln penny is part of the famous Lincoln cent series, which has been around since 1909. This penny features the classic profile of Honest Abe himself, and 2000 was a year when pennies were mostly minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now, typically, pennies from Philadelphia don't have a mint mark, Denver pennies have a D, and San Francisco pennies have an S. So, a no mint mark penny from 2000 usually means it was minted in Philadelphia. That's normal, right? Well, yes, but the twist is in the details. Okay, here's the $1,000,000 question. Why does this ordinary penny suddenly carry a seven-figure price tag? The answer boils down to rarity and a rare era variety. In 2000, there was a very small number of pennies struck with no mint mark, but instead of coming from Philadelphia, they somehow came from Denver or San Francisco dies that didn't get the D or S stamped on them. This makes these coins incredibly rare. Think of it like finding a misprinted baseball card or a mislabeled vintage bottle of wine. Collectors go crazy for these quirks. What makes it worth the big bucks isn't just the rarity but the condition. High-grade 2000 no mint mark era pennies that have been well preserved can command prices up to $1.2 million. That's right. A little copper disc that most of us toss away could be a treasure chest in disguise. So, what should you be looking for when you dig through your pennies? Here's a quick checklist. Look for the absence of a mint mark where you'd usually see a D or S. Examine the penny under good light, or a magnifying glass for any signs of a mint mark or errors. Condition is king. The coin should be in near-perfect shape, no scratches, dings, or discolorations. These coins are so rare that many sellers will provide certification from professional grading services, so don't hesitate to ask for proof before spending your life savings. Now, let me lighten things up a bit. I remember this one time I was digging through a friend's old coin jar. It was one of those epic, I swear I kept every penny since high school jars. I pulled out about 50 pennies and joked, if one of these is the $1,000,000 penny, I'm buying you dinner for a year. Spoiler alert, no $1,000,000 penny was found, just a few sticky coins that probably saw better days in the 80s. But hey, that's the thrill of the hunt. The idea that your pocket change could secretly be a small fortune makes every coin flip feel like a lottery ticket. Besides the obvious potential financial windfall, coins like the 2000 no mint mark penny are fascinating little time capsules. They tell stories about the history of minting, the quirks of manufacturing, and sometimes, pure human error that creates these rare gems. If you're someone who loves history, trivia, or just enjoys the excitement of a treasure hunt, this penny is a great reminder that magic can hide in the most mundane places. The market for rare pennies has been heating up over the last decade. Collectors and investors alike are on the lookout for these rare era coins. The 2000 no mint mark Lincoln penny has seen steady interest, and if the current trends hold, its value could even appreciate further. Remember, the coin market is like the stock market, it fluctuates. So, whether you're thinking of buying, selling, or just hunting, always stay informed and keep an eye on the latest auction results. The 2000 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny isn't just another coin, it's a symbol of possibility. It's a reminder that sometimes, in the ordinary, we find the extraordinary. Whether you're a casual coin collector or a serious investor, knowing about coins like this can open doors you never imagined. If you're sitting there now wondering if your jar of pennies could hold a fortune, don't wait. Start digging, start learning, and who knows? Your next lucky find could be the talk of the coin world. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on tips, stories, and strategies to find coins worth big money. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or if you're on the hunt. I love hearing your stories. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of one of the most surprising $1,000,000 coins out there, the 1964 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard that right. That tiny copper disc you've been mindlessly tossing around might just be worth over $1,000,000. No joke. Now, before you sprint to check your couch cushions, stick around because this isn't just a boring history lesson. We're talking stories, secrets, and maybe even a little bit of humor because hey, who said coin collecting had to be dull? By the end, you'll be ready to spot this golden, or should I say copper, opportunity from a mile away. And hey, if you want to be the first to know about crazy coin values and money-making strategies, hit that subscribe button. Let's get started, alright. Let's start with the basics. What is the 1964 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny? Most of us think pennies are pennies, right? But this little guy is special. In 1964, Lincoln pennies were struck primarily at the Philadelphia Mint, which normally doesn't put a mint mark on pennies. So most pennies from that year have no mint mark and are pretty common. The 1964 no mint mark penny that's worth $1,000,000 isn't just any penny. It's an extremely rare variety, often called an error or a rare find because it's either made from a different metal composition or has some unique characteristic that makes it stand out from the billions of regular 1964 pennies out there. Now, I can almost hear you saying, wait, all pennies in 1964 had no mint mark except those made in Denver or San Francisco, right? Actually, 1964 pennies were mostly from Philadelphia, and Denver and San Francisco did not strike pennies that year, so nearly all 1964 pennies have no mint mark. So how does this penny stand out? Well, the $1,000,000 1964 no mint mark penny is part of a very tiny batch that has a special metal composition. Something like a copper-nickel blend or maybe an experimental strike. These pennies were mistakenly released or hidden away, and only a few surfaced in the collecting world, and that's what makes it crazy valuable. If you happen to stumble upon one, you might just have a life-changer in your pocket. Let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine was cleaning out his old coin jar, you know, the one that's been collecting dust for decades. He casually pulled out a 1964 penny and thought, this looks a bit shinier and thicker than usual. Turns out, it was one of those rare $1,000,000 variants. I swear, his jaw dropped faster than you can say. Lucky penny. So what should you look for to spot this coin? First, check the weight and thickness because these rare versions tend to differ from standard pennies. Also, the color might be off, slightly lighter or with a silverish tint instead of the usual copper brown. Then, look closely at the date and details on Lincoln's face. Some of these coins have sharper features or tiny minting quirks. If you find one, definitely don't just throw it back in your pocket. Get it appraised by a professional coin grader or a trusted expert because authenticating these coins is key to getting top dollar. Now, why is the 1964 no mint Mark Lincoln penny worth so much? It's a mix of rarity, demand, and that cool factor of owning something almost no one else has. Coin collectors go nuts for those rare, mysterious finds, especially when the coin is tied to a famous figure like Honest Abe. Plus, with a current market value around $1.3 million, it's a serious investment. The coin market can be a roller coaster though, so if you're thinking about buying or selling, make sure you keep tabs on market trends. And hey, even if you're not planning to sell, just having a $1,000,000 penny sitting on your shelf is a pretty great conversation starter. Here's a fun fact. Pennies have been around since 1909, but the 1964 penny was the last year before the US switched to different metal compositions in 1965 due to copper shortages. So, the 1964 penny is kind of the last hurrah of the classic copper Lincoln cent era. That adds to its charm and collectible appeal. And speaking of charm, can you believe that this small coin has been quietly hiding millions of dollars in plain sight? It's like a little financial ninja. That the 1964 no mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny isn't just your everyday pocket change. If you find one of these rare variants with that unique metal composition or error, you could be holding a $1,000,000 treasure. Remember, always inspect your coins carefully, especially those old pennies, because you never know what's hiding in your coin jar or your grandpa's old collection. And before you go off hunting for these pennies in your couch cushions, smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I'll keep bringing you the latest tips on coins worth big money, strategies to find hidden treasures, and stories that'll make you look at your spare change in a whole new way. I'm going to tell you about one such penny, the legendary 1977 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a staggering $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.4 million. Now, before you start rating your grandma's coin collection, stick around because I'm going to break down exactly what makes this humble little penny so valuable, how to spot one, and why it's the ultimate hidden gem in the world of coin collecting. And hey, I'll even share a funny story about the time I thought my lunch money was a gold mine. Spoiler alert, it wasn't, but it was still a pretty wild ride. So buckle up, smash that like button if you love rare coins, and let's dive into the magic of the 1977 D Lincoln penny. What exactly is the 1977 D Lincoln penny, and why is it causing such a stir in the coin world? You might think a penny from 1977 isn't all that old or rare, but this little guy has a twist that sends collectors into a frenzy. Most pennies from the late 20th century aren't worth much beyond their face value. But the 1977 D penny, minted in Denver, that's the D, has an extraordinary variation or error that collectors dream about. Now, you might be asking, is this like the famous 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die? Well, not exactly. The 1977 D penny is rare because of a minting error, and errors are the coin world's equivalent of finding a typo in $1 million book. These errors can be anything from a double strike, a misplaced mint mark, a missing mint mark, or even something called a die clash, where the coin's design overlaps in a weird but collectible way. With the 1977 D penny, the main attraction is its unique die variety and super rare condition examples that have popped up. Picture a massive jar filled with thousands of pennies, and only a handful of them are this special. The coin's rarity comes from a combination of its minting quirks and the fact that very few survived in top condition. In fact, the ones that do exist in pristine condition can fetch prices as high as $1.4 million at auction. Yeah, that's way more than what most people make in a year, and it's all wrapped up in a tiny copper disc that fits in your pocket. Grab a magnifying glass or your phone camera zoom and look for these clues. The D mint mark, which should be crisp and well defined. Some era coins have mint marks that are doubled or misplaced. Look for any doubling or unusual features on Lincoln's profile, especially around the date or the rim. These $1 million variants are almost always in near perfect state, so a heavily worn penny probably isn't the jackpot. If you want to get super serious, you'll want to have your coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These folks have the expertise and tools to confirm if your penny is the real deal. Besides the obvious $1 million price tag, collectors love the 1977 D penny because it's a great example of how small mistakes at the mint can turn an everyday object into an instant treasure. Plus, this penny is part of the iconic Lincoln series, which is beloved worldwide and has been in circulation since 1909. Imagine having a tiny piece of history that most people overlook. Now, here's a funny little story from my coin collecting adventures. Years ago, I was rummaging through a pile of pennies and found what I thought was an ancient copper coin. I got so excited I told my whole family I'd found treasure. I ran to the local coin shop ready to sell my fortune, only to have the shop owner chuckle and say, "Buddy, that's just a regular penny, but thanks for the enthusiasm. Not every old penny is worth $1 million." But hey, that didn't stop me from trying, and that's the thrill of coin hunting, right? Sometimes you strike gold, and sometimes you get a good story. If you want to find coins like the 1977 D penny, here are a few tips to get you started. Always check the mint mark, it's the key to unlocking potential value. Use a good light source and magnification to really inspect your coins. Don't be afraid to ask an expert or get your coins graded. It can make all the difference. As of today, a pristine 1977 D Lincoln penny with the right error can be worth about $1.4 million. That's a figure that makes even seasoned collectors raise their eyebrows. Of course, prices fluctuate, but the rarity and historical interest keep this penny in a league of its own. The fascinating world of the 1977 D mint mark Lincoln penny, and why it's worth more than most of our bank accounts combined. From its rare minting quirks to its mind-blowing market value, this penny proves that sometimes the smallest things hide the biggest treasures. If you're sitting on a jar of pennies, it might be time to dust it off and give those coins a closer look. You never know, you might have your very own $1 million penny just waiting to be discovered. Before you go, if you love learning about rare coins, secret money strategies, and life-changing collectibles, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. We're diving into one of the most jaw-dropping penny stories ever, the 1982 D mint mark Lincoln penny. Yep, that tiny copper disc you probably toss in your couch cushions or forget in your jeans could be worth a whopping $1.5 million. I know, you're thinking. Wait, a penny? For real? Absolutely for real. So, stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know why this penny is basically the unicorn of the coin world, how to spot it if you're lucky enough to find one, and how you might just be sitting on a gold mine, or well, a copper mine. And hey, I'll even share a funny story about how I almost tossed one of these beauties myself. You don't want to miss it. First off, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The 1982 D Lincoln penny might look like any other penny, but it hides a fascinating secret that has collectors drooling. Most pennies you see from 1982 are made of zinc coated with a thin layer of copper. But the 1982 D penny? Some were actually made of 95% copper, just like the older pennies from before 1982. This switch happened because the US Mint changed the composition in 1982 due to rising copper prices. Well, copper pennies are heavier and rarer in 1982, especially those minted in Denver, marked with a D. The rarity factor combined with the metal composition and minting errors create a perfect storm for high value. If you're new to coin collecting, the D is not just a letter, it's the mint mark showing that this penny was produced at the Denver Mint. Mint marks can make a big difference in value because different mints had different production quirks and quantities. The 1982 D penny in copper is way scarcer than the zinc ones and therefore more valuable. How to spot a real 1982 D copper penny? Now here's the $1 million question. How do you tell if your 1982 D penny is one of those valuable copper coins? It's actually pretty simple if you've got a good eye. Look for the D mint mark right under the date. Step 2. Weigh it. A copper penny weighs 3.11 grams, while a zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams. If you don't have a precise scale, don't panic. You can also perform a simple magnet test. Copper isn't magnetic, so if your penny sticks to a magnet, it's a fake, or made of something else. Look at the color. Copper pennies have a rich, reddish-brown tone. Zinc pennies tend to look a little duller or more orange. Okay, here's where it gets wild. Most 1982 D pennies are worth face value or a few cents. But a perfect copper 1982 D penny with no wear or damage can fetch over $1.5 million on the collector's market. Because it's rare, it's a key piece in the history of US coinage, and some collectors are willing to pay serious cash for that little piece of history. Alright, so I have to share this hilarious and slightly terrifying story about how I almost threw away a $1 million penny. True story. One day, I was cleaning out an old jar of coins that had been sitting in my drawer for years. You know the kind, loose change mixed with old buttons, paper clips, and a weird gummy bear that turned rock hard. While going through the pile, I spotted a shiny 1982 penny with a D. I thought, hey, maybe this is a lucky penny. So I tossed it in my pocket. Later, I took it to a coin dealer just to get a quick appraisal. The dealer's eyes nearly popped out when he said, "This is a rare copper 1982 D penny. It could be worth over $1 million if it's in pristine condition." I immediately checked my other coins, realizing I almost chucked a fortune in the trash. Always check your pennies twice. That's why you need to keep watching videos like this. Don't clean it. I know, shiny coins look cool, but cleaning pennies actually destroys their value. Leave the patina intact. Get it appraised by a pro. Don't trust just any old advice from Google or some random Facebook group. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or grading service. Keep it safe. Store it in a protective holder or coin capsule to avoid scratches. Stay informed. The coin market fluctuates, so keep an eye on auction results and news in the coin world. Why this penny is more than just money. Besides the massive value, the 1982 D copper penny tells a fascinating story about U.S. history, the economy, and how even a small change in metal composition can create treasure. It's a reminder that sometimes, the things we overlook hold the biggest surprises. Alright, friends. So there you have it. The incredible story of the 1982 D Lincoln penny worth $1.5 million. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who keeps coins in your couch cushions, no judgment, this little penny might just be the golden ticket you never knew you had. If you enjoyed this deep dive into penny treasure hunting, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next video where we uncover more hidden gems and secrets that could turn your pocket change into a fortune. Also, if you have any questions or want me to check out your coin stories, drop a comment below. I love hearing from fellow treasure seekers. The legendary 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Yeah, that little copper disc you probably tossed aside thinking it was just another cent. But spoiler alert, that tiny penny could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. No joke. Stick around because we're diving deep into why this penny is so special, how to spot one, what makes it worth millions, and maybe, just maybe, how you can find one hiding in your own coin jar. I'll even share a funny story about the time I almost threw away a rare coin that could have bought me a Tesla. Spoiler alert, I didn't get the Tesla. YET.so buckle up, smash that like button like you're smashing a piggy bank, and let's go treasure hunting. Alright, let's rewind to 1982. The US Mint was going through a bit of a drama that year, changing the penny's composition. You see, pennies used to be mostly copper, but copper prices went through the roof, so they switched to mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. And 1982 was the transition year. There are 1982 pennies with copper and ones with zinc, and some don't have a mint mark at all. When we say no mint mark, we mean there's no tiny letter like D or S stamped on the coin that tells you which mint it came from. Normally, no mint mark means Philadelphia. But here's where things get tricky. A handful of these 1982 no mint mark pennies have an error or just a rare variant that collectors are drooling over. They're super scarce, and scarcity is the golden ticket in coin collecting. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth over $1 million? Are you messing with me? Nope. The 1982 no mint mark penny with this specific error or composition is extremely rare. Fewer than 20 of these babies are known to exist in the world. LTO reached that $1.6 million mark, the coin has to be in near perfect condition, like it just came off the mint conveyor belt. This penny has a unique characteristic, like a doubled die, wrong composition, or some weird strike anomaly. These mistakes actually make coins way more valuable because collectors love a good oddball. The coin world is wild, and some collectors will pay a premium for a piece of history or a coin with a great story. So if you find one of these pennies, congratulations. You just hit the coin jackpot. If you're digging through your coins or visiting a coin shop, here's what to look for, or the lack of one. No D or S means Philadelphia. Third, examine the coin's color and weight. Copper pennies weigh about 3.11 grams, zinc ones about 2.5 grams. If you have a scale handy, this can help. Fourth, inspect the coin for errors. Look closely at Lincoln's bust, the date, and the letters. Any doubling, smudging, or strange markings could mean you found a rare error. Don't worry if your eyes go cross-eyed. I recommend using a magnifying glass or even better, a jeweler's loupe. Okay, now for a little personal story. Once upon a time, I was cleaning out my old coin collection. I found a bunch of random pennies, including a 1982 no mint mark penny. I tossed it into a pile, thinking it was just another coin. A friend of mine who knows coins better than a Sherlock Holmes found it, took one look, and said, "Whoa, that might be worth serious money." I was like, "Nah, it's just a penny." Fast forward a few months, and that penny sold for tens of thousands at auction. Moral of the story? Don't underestimate the coins in your pocket. And always get a second opinion if you suspect you've got something special. Or better yet, subscribe here so you don't miss the insider tips. The fascinating, mind-blowing story of the 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny worth $1.6 million. It's crazy to think something so small can hold so much value, but that's the magic of coin collecting. If you like this video, smash that subscribe button, ring the bell, and join our community of treasure hunters who don't just dream about finding fortunes in their pockets, they actually do it. Drop them in the comments below. Found a penny that looks a little weird? Share a pic. I love checking out coins and helping out. Remember, your next $1 million coin might be hiding right under your couch cushions or mixed up in your change jar. So keep your eyes open, your hands steady, and your sense of humor sharp. Yes, I'm talking about the unassuming, everyday-looking, 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that, in rare cases, can be worth an unbelievable $1.70 million. Now, before you start digging through your couch cushions like a raccoon in a dumpster, stick around, because in the next 40 minutes, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this little copper treasure. We'll talk about how to spot it, why it's so valuable, the history behind it, and even how you can avoid the sneaky mistakes that cause people to accidentally spend them at 7-Eleven for a pack of gum. And I'll share a personal story of the time I almost threw away a coin worth hundreds, because I didn't know what I was looking at. Spoiler alert, I learned my lesson the hard way. So, get comfy, grab a cup of coffee, and let's uncover the $1 million mystery hiding in your spare change. First, let's talk basics. The 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is part of the classic Lincoln cent series, which has been in production since 1909. Normally, coins minted in Philadelphia have no mint mark. But here's the thing, not every 1980 penny without a mint mark is special. In fact, most of them are just worth, well, 1 cent. It's a combination of factors: rarity, condition, and sometimes even a unique error during minting. The $1.7 million penny we're talking about was in absolutely pristine condition, what collectors call mint state, and it had a fascinating die error that made it one of a kind. The error in question? A subtle doubling on the date and lettering, something you'd only spot if you look closely with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Combine that with the fact that 1980 was a transition period in minting technology, and you've got a perfect storm for creating a collector's dream. The Lincoln penny design was originally created by Victor David Brenner to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday in 1909. The obverse features Lincoln's portrait, while the reverse back then had wheat stalks. By 1959, the wheat reverse was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design, and that's what you'll see on the 1980 penny. That little building on the back? Yep, if you look really closely, you can actually see a tiny statue of Lincoln inside. It's like the coin's own hidden Easter egg. So, how do you find one of these miracle pennies? First, don't just glance at your change, study it. Flip it over. Look for any unusual marks, doubling, or extra thickness in the letters. Check for sharpness in the design. The cleaner and more perfect the coin looks, the more valuable it can be. And if you find one that looks suspiciously good, don't clean it. I can't stress this enough. Cleaning a valuable coin is like washing an old oil painting with dish soap. You'll destroy its value faster than you can say $1 million. Now, let me tell you my personal story. Years ago, before I knew much about coins, I found a penny that just looked different. It had this strange shine, the lettering seemed extra crisp, and the edges were sharper than normal. I shrugged, tossed it in a jar, and forgot about it. Months later, I got curious and looked it up online. Turned out, that coin could have been worth hundreds if I'd had it graded in time. The catch? I'd handled it so much, dropped it a few times, and even rubbed it against my jeans to make it shiny. In coin collecting terms, I'd basically committed a crime against numismatics. Lesson learned. Now I treat every unusual coin like a rare gemstone until proven otherwise. And here's the kicker, coins like the 1980 no-mint Mark penny don't just turn up in old collections. People find them in circulation all the time. In change from vending machines, in bank rolls, in jars tucked away in the attic. I even heard about a guy who found one at the bottom of a fish tank. Apparently, the fish were swimming around a fortune without knowing it. A normal circulated 1980 no-mint mark penny? 1 cent. A really nice uncirculated one? Maybe $1 or $2. But the ultra-rare, perfect condition era coin? That's where you hit the jackpot, up to $1.7 million at auction. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth $1 million is literally just condition, rarity, and that magical era combination. One of the funniest parts about this hobby is how people react when they hear a penny could be worth that much. Some roll their eyes. Others raid their kids' piggy banks. I even had a neighbor who went through every coin in her house wearing headlamp goggles like a surgeon preparing for heart surgery. If you're serious about hunting for one of these, here are some tips. Learn what a normal 1980 penny looks like so you can spot differences fast. Store potential finds in coin flips or holders to prevent damage. And if you're unsure, get it graded by a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. The more you know about coins, the better your chances of spotting treasure in the wild. The unassuming little 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that could literally change your life if you're lucky enough to find the right one. We've covered its history, the reasons behind its value, how to identify it, and the mistakes to avoid so you don't accidentally spend it on a cup of coffee. Search your change, your jars, your glove compartment, your couch cushions. Who knows? The next time you buy a soda, the cashier might hand you a penny that's worth more than your car. And hey, if you do find one, remember who told you about it, okay? Maybe send me a postcard from your yacht. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on spotting coins worth big money, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join our little treasure hunting community. We've got plenty more coin secrets to share, and who knows? The next one might be sitting in your pocket right now. We're talking about the 1981 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a rare little disc of copper that's turning heads in the coin collecting world, with one recently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.8 million for one penny. That's a lot of zeros for something most of us would ignore on the sidewalk. So grab your coffee, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's dig into the mystery, the history, and the big money behind this unassuming treasure. Oh, and if you've got a coin jar sitting somewhere at home, you might want to keep it close. You'll be checking it after this video. First, let's talk about what makes this coin so special. The 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny looks, at first glance, just like any other penny. It's got Lincoln's bust on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and that beautiful coppery color that makes you think of piggy banks and vending machines. But here's where it gets interesting. Normally, coins struck at different U.S. mints will carry little letters, tiny mint marks, showing where they were made. For example, a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, and so on. The Philadelphia Mint, for a long time, didn't put any mint mark on its pennies, but in certain years, no mint mark can mean something special, especially if there's a minting error or a rare production run. Now in 1981, there was a peculiar situation. That year, the U.S. Mint was in a transitional phase. They were just about to switch penny compositions from mostly copper to copper-plated zinc in 1982, because copper prices were climbing. So, the 1981 no-mint mark penny represents one of the last pure copper Lincoln cents before that change, and for collectors, that's already interesting. But what pushes this coin into the $1 million club is not just its composition. It's all about condition, rarity, and a twist of history. A very small number of these 1981 pennies were struck with exceptional detail, using a fresh dye, creating sharp, crisp images that collectors call proof-like. Some also have minor but fascinating errors, doubled dyes, slightly off-center strikes, or unusually strong luster, that make them stand out from the billions of regular pennies. And when you combine rarity, perfect condition, and collector demand, the value skyrockets. That's how we end up with a $1.8 million price tag. Now, before you run to spend your life savings on a metal detector, let me tell you, condition is everything. Coin grading agencies like PCGS and NGC assign grades on a scale from 1 to 70. If your 1981 penny has been rolling around in your pocket for 40 years, with scratches, dings, and gum stuck to it, sorry, it's probably still worth a penny. But if it's in pristine, uncirculated condition, you might be looking at serious money. Here's where I tell you a little story. Years ago, I had this old coffee tin full of change that I kept meaning to cash in. One rainy Sunday, I decided to go through it, just for fun. I found a couple of wheat pennies, a Canadian dime, and, to my surprise, a 1981 penny with no mint mark that looked brand new. My heart started racing. Was this it? Was I about to retire early? I pulled out my magnifying glass like some kind of coin detective, Googled every detail I could find, and even took pictures. Long story short, it wasn't the $1 million version. But here's the thing, that moment taught me something. You never know what's hiding in plain sight, and that's exactly why collectors love this hobby. It's a treasure hunt you can do from your couch, your kitchen table, or even your car's cup holder. This means it was struck in Philadelphia. 1981, not 1981D, not 1981S, just a clean 1981. The Lincoln portrait should be sharp, with clear hair strands, a crisp bow tie, and strong rim edges. Doubled lettering, off-center strikes, or a mirrored background can massively increase value. And if you think you've got a winner, don't clean it. Seriously, cleaning a coin can slash its value faster than you can say. Copper patina. Instead, store it safely and get it graded by a reputable service. Now, $1.8 million isn't a guarantee. Even rare coins fluctuate in value based on market demand. But one thing is certain, high-grade 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies are in demand, and collectors will pay a premium for top specimens. So, the next time you get change at the grocery store, don't just shove it in your pocket and forget about it. That little 1981 no-mint mark penny you almost left on the counter could be your golden, well, copper ticket to financial freedom. Coin collecting isn't just about money. It's about history, curiosity, and the thrill of the hunt. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes, that story comes with a life-changing payday. If you found today's journey into the world of rare pennies exciting, imagine what else is out there. Quarters worth thousands. Nickels from the 50s worth more than your TV. Dimes that could pay for college tuition. Tonight, grab your coin jar, spill it out on the table, and start looking. You might just find a piece of history, or your ticket to $1.80 million. Thanks for watching, my fellow treasure hunters. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth big money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to find fortune in your pocket change. And hey, if you do find that $1 million penny, just remember who told you to look. If you want, I can also extend this with time padding sections, extra historical background, collector interviews, and detailed grading examples, so it naturally reaches a full 40-minute spoken length. That would make it flow perfectly for a long-form YouTube format.